another Chart Nerd TA video. I'm going to be doing some TA today on Bitcoin. Yesterday the markets had a bit of a roll. There was a lot of fear, okay, but I do believe that potentially what you've done is found support back on this 21st of September low here for Bitcoin on I think it was 18.1k Bitcoin came down to. So you can see that we have retested, you've come into resistance and fell back to support on the previous low. So what we need to see here is this low held. Now I mean, when I look and I see these sort of wicks, okay, these wicks tend to normally get filled back in with price. So if we do get rejected here at this 55 and start to roll again, I think potentially what you're going to do is come back down and retest this 18k. Equally, I will show you why right now we are potentially running into some sort of strong level of resistance for Bitcoin that we've been holding since this 25k. There's been this resistance, okay, so you got the 25k resistance, you came down, you put in a low, you came back up, you ran into this trend line as resistance, you came back down, you formed a lower low, and this is currently the low that we are holding. So from this low, again, we retraced to the EMAs, met resistance, got rejected, fell back to support, okay, held support on this local low here, just as where we were saying before, on the 21st of September, the 18k, and then from this point again, over yesterday and today, we're pushing back up to this resistance. So right now, are we meeting resistance, or are we going to break through and turn resistance into support? Well, as I've said, at the moment, you've got this key support area down here, okay, you've got this key support, and right now, Bitcoin has to hold that, okay. If you start to see a close below this wick, okay, and below this low here, and Bitcoin gets rejected at this resistance line right here, say for example, and starts to do something like this, okay, and if you do come back down and retest this low and lose that, it's looking very negative for Bitcoin. And my technical targets to the downside, okay, straight off the back, we would get a fib on from this high, okay, retracing back down to this low, okay, because this is where we retrace to. You can see that the technical targets for me at a minimum, okay, if Bitcoin was to start to get rejected here, start to roll through and lose these fibs, okay, and turn this one fib into resistance, for me, your minimal targets are 17.5k to 16.8k, okay, and you can see that basically what will happen is if you do come down and retest this 1272 here and lose this one fib, okay, what you're doing is you're basically coming back down to retest the June lows that we're currently holding as support. Okay, so that 1272 target is a retracement back down to the low that we put in June. Sorry. So yeah, so we could be on our way retracing back down to this low if we fail to break out of this resistance line that I just showed you guys a minute ago and do start to fall through these fibs. So it's a very key pivotal moment for Bitcoin, I do believe. Okay, if you start to see a breakout of this resistance line right here, okay, and you start to see Bitcoin do something like this where it's come up, come back for a higher level of support and starts to break out and turn this resistance into support, okay, then you've got technical targets to the upside, okay. But again, above you right now, we do have levels of resistance, okay. So levels of resistance are this local high and this 25k here. Equally though, on the daily time frame, you can see that this range right here, okay, you've got multiple contacts of resistance. So you had resistance here, okay, we had resistance here, we had resistance here. So this is a key resistance line. I would like to see Bitcoin break to get some sort of confirmation, and that sits at a price of 20.4k. If you start to see Bitcoin, as I said, come up, break that resistance line, this downwards trending resistance, if you see Bitcoin break above that, that's a terrible line, I'm sorry, but if you do see Bitcoin break above resistance and hold a support here, okay, and hold this 20.5k as support, then for me you are looking to retest this 22k that we put in on the 13th of September. So it's all about breaking above resistance and breaking through trend lines. Okay, so I'm going to keep that trend line in. We're going to get this trend line back on as well. Okay, so there's a couple of trend lines of resistance that Bitcoin needs to break through before we can get any sort of continuation to the upside or get excited really. So right now you're basically caught between a rock and a hard place. Okay, you've got this level of support. You got this level of support here, and basically you're just sort of stuck in this range at the moment, looking for some sort of breakout, a decision, whether you're going to potentially roll over, okay, or whether you're going to come up and break resistance and turn it into support. So for me right now, okay guys, if we were tracing to the upside and we was looking to break resistance, you're going from that low to this high. Okay, so from this low that we put in yesterday, retracing back up to this 20.5k, Okay, that's our resistance point. So right now you can see that we're running into the 0702. Okay, and this is acting as resistance right now. Okay, so the 702, and you've basically wick shy of the 786. Okay, so what we need to see here to get confirmational breaks, okay, is to come up, fall back to support, hold the low, break out, hold a support, and then start to come and tackle up this 20.5k. If you do see Bitcoin get above that, these are my technical targets to the upside. Okay, so the 1272 at a minimum at 21k. Okay, so if we break 20.5k and do start to come up and tackle this resistance, again, 21k is my minimal target, but you could be looking at a 1618 to 22k, which is going to be retesting this local high of resistance, of which in the same time, if he was to break out, you're tackling this trend line, this downwards trend line of resistance, and you're also breaking out this horizontal level of resistance at 20.5k, and that would be really bullish. I think it would be very, very bullish for Bitcoin if it was to do that. So key things to take away from today's video, guys. Okay, if we do start to break out of 20.5k and we do get a push up to this resistance, okay, and break it and hold it as support, do look for a minimal push to 21 to 22k, okay, and a potential retest of previous resistance. And as I said, you'll be breaking out of this trend line, you'll be breaking out of this horizontal level of support, and equally this channel that you've sort of been in for a few weeks. So that would be the upside play for me. Okay, so my upside targets at the highest, I'd say, if you did come up and break out here, okay, you're pushing to the 1618 and retesting previous resistance. If we do get rejected here, okay, and we do get rejected at this point, okay, and you come down and form a higher low than this low, okay, and we get rejected here and do something like this and start to roll, okay, you're going to come down and retest this low. And I've given you the targets to the downside. So if you start to lose that low, I said that my minimal targets are going from that 20.5k high here, retracing back to this low. I said that my minimal targets sit at the 1272 at the 17k, 17.6k June bottom that we put back in, yeah, in June this year. So potentially, okay, get rejected here at this resistance, fall back. If you start to lose the 1 fib, okay, 1272 to 1618 minimal targets to the downside. And I said if you start to break out this resistance and tackle 20.5k, okay, and hold that as support, you're looking for a push back up to resistance at 22k. And I'll start getting bullish at that point because you've held support basically, you've started to coil up, okay, and you're looking for a breakout. Another pattern that potentially is in play here, okay, so that's my targets to the upside, guys. Okay, a 22k if you start to break out of resistance, and to the downside you're going to retest the 1272 at this June 18 low basically. But you can see again, as I've said, you've got this level of resistance right here, and I think what we was watching for was off this low. We was going off the candle closes, wasn't we, for Bitcoin? So we was going from, I think it was where was we? Yeah, so what we need to be careful of, okay, right now is we was watching this ascending sort of triangle pattern where you came up, you met resistance, okay, and then you came back for support, and we was looking to coil up in this ascending triangle and basically break out. But what's happened is, okay, you had this pattern, you've lost it, and potentially what you're doing now is turning previous support, this support line, into resistance. So again, that's another level of resistance that we need to see Bitcoin break through and close above. Sorry, excuse me. We need to see Bitcoin break through and close back above, okay, because you're in this pattern, okay, this sort of double bottom pattern. You lost support right here and you've turned it into resistance. So if we see Bitcoin basically start to come back in this pattern and get squeezed up in here like this, okay, you've basically had something called you've lost the pattern, but you've had a throw back in. Okay, if we do start to come in and coil up here and squeeze into this corner, okay, you've had something called a throwback. So right now, potentially this, you know, trend lines, you can move them anyway, any way you want. Someone would just say you're just sticking a line on the chart, but potentially, okay, from this low here, you've still got, if you're going off the wicks, you've got this wick low, you've got this support, okay, and you've got the candle closes that are still on this trend line. So technically speaking, from wick lows, okay, on this ascending support, you have had a nasty wick out here, but your candle closes were still inside this pattern. So potentially, it's all a big potential. It doesn't have to happen, but you still could be caught in this ascending triangle looking to break out. Okay, so that 20.5k is a key area that you need to see Bitcoin break, especially this daily 55. Okay, because if you start coming up now, okay, and start tackling above the 55 and holding this 20.5k as support, you are, as I said, looking to retrace back up to this level of resistance at 22.2k. And we can see here that if we do get that breakout, okay, the target would be from there to there. Okay, and what gives a bit of confidence that you're going to come back up to that 22k is if you break this ascending triangle. Okay, because the ascending triangle breakout, if you do start to come up, tackle 20.5k and close above, you're looking at a 12% long up, as I said, back up to that resistance. And equally that ties up with, I think, just shy of the 1618 target. Okay, you'd be pushing up to the 2 near enough. But yeah, as I've said, the minimum target's 22k for me at the 1618. If you do break out above this ascending triangle here, okay, you're going to be looking to retrace to that point. And again, if you start to tackle that, at that point, to be fair, you could see something like this. So we're coiling up, okay, we're getting higher lows. If we do break out, okay, start to run up to meet the technical target, at that point, what I would like to see Bitcoin do at 22k is potentially come back and find a level of support back on previous resistance. Okay, so back down to the 1 fib at 20.5k, and then looking to sort of get its continuation. And as we keep saying, you're just basically forming larger patterns, and you've got a low, and you could potentially have a higher low retracing from this point down here, and back off you go. Okay, and you've got higher lows over a larger period of time. So that's one play that I'm looking at here. Okay, for Bitcoin, that ascending triangle right here, we are holding support still. Okay, we haven't lost foundational support. We've came down, we've retested it. Okay, but we have got a strong push back up, and we're looking to basically hold here for now by the skin of our teeth, literally by the skin of our teeth. So yeah, guys, that's a quick update for you today on Bitcoin. Break through this resistance and hold this support. Right now everything is pretty dandy. Okay, but if we do get rejected and fail to break this resistance and fail to take out this 20.5k, okay, we come up and do something like this. Okay, do look for those downside targets. Okay, if you start losing this 18k, you are going to retest this low right here, okay, that we put back in June, and that's the 1272 target from this high retracing to this low. Okay, guys, so do look out. Start breaking this trend line, you got a retracement potentially to that. Okay, start losing this support, you've got a retracement back down to that. Okay, so guys, I hope you enjoyed today's content. If you did, please do like, comment, and subscribe. Until next time, from Chart Nerd TA, peace out.